Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I'm on chess.com and I am playing a 5-0 game. Let's try... okay, we'll go with e6. Let's see. Bogo-Indian and Nimzo. Bogo-Indian. Bishop d2, negative. Alright, I'm going to put a pawn in the center. And let's see if they're going to go with this queen a4 line. No. Okay, we're going to come all the way back. And I guess they're going to go for a Kingside Fianchetto. No. Okay. Castles or c5? Let's just go with castles. Let's get that in there. No surprises. And I'm going to hold on that tension and just Fianchetto. c5 at some point. b4, maybe first a5 and then c5. Could get pretty lively. One thing you have to be on the lookout for is this bishop. If I go with c5 and there's a capture on c5, he could be vulnerable to a queen or maybe a rook one day. Yeah, case in point right here. So, if I play a5 first, a5, there's b5, and then c6. This pawn is going to be pretty annoying to my knight. I think I have to go in for c5 right now. Pretty symmetrical so far. Okay. One take. And a push. So, interesting imbalance. I wonder if I could play a6 here, taking advantage of this. Of the fact that they can't support b5 with a4. So we could get a pretty weird imbalance, two connected passers, and I could maybe push with c4. Let's see. Really sharp. Not a defined structure here. Probably at some point be saddled with hanging pawns, d5, c5 structure. So takes right now and then give this bishop a shove. I'm going to take once. So I've increased my control over the center just a little bit more. Do I want to play this move right now? Or maybe I could, yeah, let's not do that just yet. How about this move first, preparing this and then a capture? If I did this and then played here, there's knight d4. I don't want to give up d4 so fast. This knight could maybe jump into c5. A knight b3, I'm preparing to play queen up. Okay. That move. Well, this knight can't do anything but go to d7, so let's get him there. Even on the clock. This move I thought loses material. Should probably think that one over here. Here. There's a knight to b3 move, hitting my queen. But even so, I think that this is good, because it opens up the c5 square. I could still try to get this in. So maybe bishop to b4. Yeah, this, knight to b3. Ooh, you know what? I could maybe go for a really weird imbalance. c3, knight b3, I take the bishop, they take my queen, I take the rook and then the knight. Two minor pieces and a rook, and they get a queen and a pawn. Oh man, that's a tough one to assess because they have two connected passers as well. I'd be getting their dark square bishop. Boy, that's a tough one to assess. Do I have to go in for that? I don't have to go in for that, but... That's really tempting. I'm going to try it. Yeah, this is going to get really weird. They have to play knight to b3 now. So here we are. Let's get that. And let's see if I could maybe convert this one. The rook is unprotected for one. I have pretty decent coordination. My knights are connected. Both my bishops are unprotected. I'm going to be doubling up and maybe one day threatening to take on b5 if the queen goes elsewhere. Yeah, I think I could manage a dark square blockade. I don't see how these guys get rolling so fast. Okay, let's start with this. On knight b3, I could take a4. I still need a flight square, but I don't know if now is really the time to go for that. I still need to connect rooks, I believe. Knight c3, I take him out. Yeah. Flight square wise, I think I'll be going with g6. They're at the 2-minute mark. This game has flown right by. Let's see. Yeah, really interesting imbalance. I think a knight on c4 would be pretty good. Not sure which path he should choose to get there. Probably b6. Put some more pressure on a4. But you know, before I even commit the knight, I think I want to get a flight square in there. And with this bishop bearing down on my king's side, it's g6 is the better square. They're really in the think tank here. Yeah, they really can't challenge my rook so easily. I'm not sure how their queen improves. Okay, let's start off with this. g6 it is. And now their queen is ready to do something over here. Let's go here, stop some entry points. Okay. I could take the knight and then go here. I'm fine if the queen takes the knight. I don't mind that. Are they going to try and get a passed pawn? I could always pitch one of my minor pieces for it. And I'm ready to get some more material, so probably just get the bishop here straight away. Actually, you know what? I wonder if there's a way to trap the queen. Minute 50. Bishop c5 stops this. I'm just going to drop all the way back. On this move, I believe I have this. No, that's not true. That's not true, because they have rook to b1. Okay, now it's getting scary. Now it's definitely getting scary. But wait a second. Okay, rook here, I drop my rook. Yeah, I misplayed that. Maybe I could start with this and then rook c5 next. Yeah. This rook here, so that this doesn't hit with tempo. It's pinned right now. They have to play rook b1. Now I have this. Queen b7. I'm always in a spot to sack my knight for this pawn, so if I could take him out, I'm prepared to give up my knight for a passed pawn. 40-second mark. Queen doesn't have many options. She has to go here, basically. And maybe I could even take here. And then take the bishop at the end. And it seems simplest. Just don't complicate. Threatening mate now. And I guess we'll go here. Tuck my king up. That is a check. My bishop's controlling this. I guess we'll insert a check. And then get behind here. Knight here threatens this. This move, I don't think that they could play... Oh, wait, there's queen there if I do that. My bishop's attacked. Let's just hit him with a check. Try and put a dent in their structure over here. It's getting down to the wire. Yikes. Yeah. Can I weave a mate here? I might be close to giving mate. Not quite. Okay. Oh, that was a terrible mouse slip, and there's no takebacks either. I think I would have won on time even with this somehow. It would have gone down to the wire, but yeah. What an interesting game. Interesting imbalance. I probably had a draw at minimum after this. I could take and then play here, and I have everything coordinated. It would have been a rat race, but yeah, what an interesting opening that one turned out to be. I don't have too much experience with that. I've had positions like that before where you have a big majority in the center and you give your opponent these connected passers on the queen side. It makes for an interesting game, and I think that this was one of them, eventually leading to that imbalance, two minor pieces and a rook versus a queen and pawn. Okay, let's dive right into the analysis and see what more we can take away from this one. Okay, this is where I want to be. So let's see about this opening. Bogo-Indian defense. It's calling it the, knight b to d2. It's called the Grunfeld Variation. It's news to me. Did not know that. That was the name. Anyhow, I put a pawn in the center. It's queen a4 here. Didn't go with that line. I have no intention of giving up my bishop for the knight on a3 here. I don't get anything for it. No structural damage, and I pretty much can be assured that the bishop has to deploy in this direction, or the knight will have to move again if he wants to come out along this diagonal, so I'm just helping white out by taking the knight on d2. So let's get to something interesting here. e3, castles, bishop d3, yeah, b6, castles, pretty natural stuff. And now b4. So this is a big moment, because if I don't play c5 here, white plays c5 and grabs some space. Well, it's suggesting knight b to d7. What I didn't like about a5, this is what it's suggesting, a5, b5, I just felt that this was a bit too cramping to my knight. Having to work around this pawn. I mean, it happened in the game that there was a pawn here, but things were changed a bit more. This pawn was able to get all the way up here, and they didn't have a d pawn. So, yeah, I don't know. I want to go with c5 and make sure things were opened up in my. I didn't want to play with a lack of space, let's just say. So chop. This is where things heat up. Let's see what tactics were missed, if any. Should they have held their ground here? It doesn't like b5. Well, it's not the top move, at least, right now. b5, and is a6 a good reply? Yes, so I did react well here with a6. So this changes the structure. Again, this is just not... They're not able to recapture with the pawn. If the rook was defended, that's a different story. It suggests capturing on a6. So after queen to e2, a takes b5. It likes me by about a pawn here. C takes, and now knight b to d7. Straight away. And c4 as well. Yeah, you know, the train of thought that I used in the game where I said, well, where else is this knight going to go? I should probably do that right now. What did I do? I brought my queen out, because I had in my mind that I wanted to maybe win a pawn. The computer's okay with this, but I should apply the reasoning that I did in the game at this very moment with my knight. There's no way to make this pawn flinch. He's there for good. If white wants to keep him there, at some point he could push, but my knight has no other choice but really to go to d7 here, so I should just get him there right away and not give my opponent so much information so quickly with my queen. Okay, queen a5 it is. And now I went in for c4. Yeah, it's a interesting position. Let's see. Bishop there. So this is already, yeah. So I could go in for this 4 sequence now. Does like c4. Bishop c2, I guess. Oh, it even wants to capture maybe on c4. I guess that's an option, right? Maybe these guys get rolling now. The knight is supporting their advance. Okay. So after bishop c2, does it like c3? It's not thinking about c3 here. Let's see. I guess it is a move. It does in the end after c3 it does like that even better. Probably have to give it some time to think this one through. But it seems like as soon as I put it on there, it likes it. So knight b3 and then going in for this very line, giving up the queen. C takes b2, knight takes queen, pawn takes rook. And what's the evaluation on this? Again, a very difficult one to assess in a blitz game. It's giving me a little bit more than a pawn, somewhere around a pawn and a half, but yeah, I should have been able to convert this better. Just one quick note is when that queen got active over here at c6 and I dropped my bishop back to f8, I probably should have gone here to throw a strike at the rook and kind of observe the b pawn, observe at least a promotion square from one of these guys. He played too much of a passive role when I dropped him back to f8. I didn't share that during the game, but it was running through my mind. Rook f8, a8, and yeah. What more to share with this one? e5. Okay, now that's something I did not consider. Changing the structure, giving up the f5 square. I feel like there's a way you could still play within the structure here. Anything wrong with what I did in g6? I guess I could still play e5 next. I'm getting the flight square and at least preventing knight to f5. But I really didn't have it in my mind at all to change the structure. Knight c5 it wants to go with. Yeah, so this was a pretty lame move. I give something up with bishop d6. Knight c5 it likes. Knight to e8. I played here to cover this square. Knight to e8 does that as well. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky to coordinate. Knight c6. Does it like capturing? I take. It seems pretty intolerable on the c6 square. Queen takes, and yeah, I don't even have a pawn advantage now. Bishop e7. Is f8 okay? I guess f8 is still okay. And now b6. Things are getting critical now. Rook 8 to a6. Rook to b8. -3. So what's the idea here? Rook to b8, rook to b1, and then let's say, oh, rook to c5 now, and the difference is that the queen cannot move and throw a punch at my rook. I'm moving my rook to a square where he's defended. So here, when I play rook c5, my rook isn't defended on a6. Okay. So that would have been a lot cleaner. This is a winning advantage now. Had I played rook to b8. Rook to a6, how does it feel about that? I guess this is still good. Rook b1, rook c5? Yeah, it likes rook c5, and after queen to b7, rook takes b6. That's what I did. So this is still a winning line that I did in the game, and I just had to play this better. Knight to e4 straight away. Oh, you know what? A knight on e4 will support a bishop c5, and I can always sack my bishop for the pawn. And it would seem that one of these pawns is going to fall, the f2 pawn, and in the end I would have some good coordination if one day, you know, let's just say the bishop's here, there's a check, I go here and he just continues to run, I get this guy, and let's say this happens. I have really good coordination. It'd probably be saying that I'm still a little bit better here. Yeah. It's because my pieces find good squares and there's only the f2 pawn that I have to worry about. So I'm sure there was something better, but worst case scenario, I just wanted to highlight that kind of variation where I could sack a minor piece for the pawn and get one of these kingside pawns. So what could I have done better? Instead of bishop c5, just jump into e4. And what does it consider best for white right around here? Just wants to push. And then I guess we're scooping up the f2 pawn. Yeah, my knight doesn't even have to budge. And then, yeah. I'd probably do this in the game. Queen b8. And I prepare to give my bishop up for the pawn. a7, it even suggests capturing here. Is there some fancy mate if they get two queens? This is interesting. So I could give a check. King h2. Okay, okay, so the bishop will eventually get on this diagonal and fork the king. So on this, there's a rook check. Actually, that's leading to mate. Rook f1, bishop g1, and knight to f2. That would have been a cool one. But the king from this position after the discovered check, he could go to h2, and that's how you pick up one of the queens. And yeah, two pawns and knight and rook, good coordination. It's black pulling for a win, but it didn't play out like that. I'm just want to have a quick look at the final position before, instead of the mouse slip move. Would it have been a win or a draw? What's the story with that final position? I gave a check. And what now? Knight to e4 incoming. No, I give a check. Yeah, so this... Yeah, I almost made that knight move. That would have been terrible. Knight to e4, queen to b1, I lose my rook, and they still have their pawn. So I'm just breaking up their king side a little bit. I guess I just wanted to safeguard this diagonal so I could play knight to e4 soon. It still likes black. And maybe there was a mate after queen to b7. No, now it's just equal. So this is where it turned. Instead of knight to e4, what did I have to do? Rook check. And let's say king f1. What would I do here? I'll just take the pawn. I could have captured the pawn right here. Yeah, pick up the pawn right now. He's free. Oh man. Okay, what's my excuse? Bullet mode? Okay. What about this final position? Check. This is winning with d4. Knight to f5. And I guess this is just a draw. If they were recapturing an objectively a draw, but who knows how this would have finished if they captured. I probably would have done this and played here. Easier for black to play. And a very easy fortress as well. Good coordination, but had that little mouse slip at the end. But an interesting game here. The Bogo-Indian Grunfeld Variation. Weird imbalance in this one. Anyhow, feel free as usual to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. Hope you're having a great day, and I will catch you soon. That's all for now. Take care. Bye.